Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 30 days of unlimited social messaging, 10 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, and 1,000 local anywhere calls and texts. With the always-on prepaid plan, all for $100. Keep your number when you switch to St. Kitts' most reliable LTE network. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Taste the real Fruta. Enjoy the real Fruta. Refreshing juice of every day. Whoa, Fruta. Drink the real Fruta. Your favorite Fruta. The natural taste is Fruta. Fruta.
Your favorite fruit has got a new skin with real juice within. Drink the real Fruta. Enjoy the real joy.
Taste the real Fruta. Enjoy the real Fruta. Refreshing juice of every day is Fruta.
Fruta, juiced right.
Good morning. It's another lovely Monday. We're here in the studios of Win FM 98.9. And the clock on the wall says it's just about 4 minutes past 11 o'clock. Nice and cool in here. My name is Socrates. I'll be your host of today's edition of Voices. I say it's a lovely Monday. Maybe for some it's not that, but I actually left downtown Bastia just about 5 minutes to go. It's a bit overcast, bit of rain from time to time, light showers, but there's a sense of peace and calm. I was amongst some of my colleagues in the circus, some taxi drivers. And, we have lots of stuff to discuss, but it's a nice, cool atmosphere. And I am getting the sense that we've somewhat gone past the sense of panic that prevailed throughout the Federation and the wider region and the world just about a month ago. So we look back at where we were then, we observe where we are now, and getting past the panic phase, the major adjustments we've had to make in terms of how the curfew would have affected us individually. Some people were able to cope with it in a very calm way, some were not. But in looking back in hindsight, and the whole sense of easement, as I said, there's a sense of calm apprehension, of course, as to what may happen, what's going to happen with this and that. But right now, I think that we have so much to be grateful for. I normally say you count your blessings first. And having counted your blessings first, all the other things don't really measure up. You brush them off your shoulder. No doubt today we'll have lots of callers that call into the program. And for those who may be calling for the first time, the numbers are 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989. Those are your local numbers. For those who wish to call from the U.S., we have the New York area 718-285-6984. From the Miami area, we've got 305-921-6419. And for those from the UK, we've got 033 344 0065. If I'm sounding a bit muffled, it's the mask I'm wearing, the required mask. And this is fast becoming the new norm. There are even suggestions that beyond, in the foreseeable future, the next 2 months, even 6 months, a year from now, this may become the new standard of still observing the safety requirements in terms of wearing a mask, the hand sanitizing, the curfew as we know it, even though we've seen over the past couple of weeks a partial liftment of the curfew. We've had last week 4 days of, lifting of the curfew, partially lifting. Monday and Tuesday, we were able to go out and do a bit of shopping. And then Wednesday, we were in a 24-hour lockdown phase. Then on Thursday and Friday, we were back on the streets. And it was noted by many that the long lines and the long queues at the various supermarkets, pharmacies, etc., were not that long. There's a sense of easement. We're getting past this. So people have adjusted tremendously. And for this, we have to give thanks to the folks at the front of the battle. They call them first responders, frontline workers, the doctors, the police officers, the security forces, all those folks who've been out there trying to help us to follow the guidelines. Today, again, I was downtown, went to pay a bill, and the queue isn't that long. So gradually, we're getting back to a sense of normalcy in this, I wouldn't say pre-COVID environment, but as it stands right now, we are adopting to a very large extent. And the compliance has been to a very large extent. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it 8. I still see lots of folks walking downtown around with no mask at all. And we do have the tendency to take things for granted. And of course, the consequences we're not prepared to accept. I will still try to encourage as many persons as possible not to feel that we're out of the woods. When compared to other countries in the region, we seem to be ahead. And a lot is being accredited to the early response and the policies taken by the government in terms of closing down the ports and being out there on a daily basis. The education has been tremendous. The communication has to be commended every single day, reinforcing the same thing over and over. Somebody said that in a classroom or any classroom of any size, not every student will be able to pass and get it, but eventually just about everybody's getting there. And so as a result of that, we're not supposed to boast about how we've sort of, we've been able to cope with COVID-19. There was last week an announcement of 15 cases, and then on the heel of the news that there was a recovery, we are looking at 14 cases. And so we would wish those numbers to go down. I don't know if that was a peak. In listening to the medical opinions of the folks at the head, we're hearing that the numbers will go up. And we have to bear that particular thing in there. The numbers will go up. There was some time back they were saying it's not a case of if, but when. We have seen the when. We've been briefed on the various mechanisms put in place to contain the virus. And based on what I saw downtown today, in mingling with just about everyday folks are still in queues at the various establishments, etc. But we've become somewhat accustomed to it, and we are conforming. And the results have favored us in terms of comparing what's happening here per capita to other regions. And so I reached out to someone in Barbados, and I'm hoping to get a call from the person to give me feedback as to what has happened there, how that COVID-19 has affected the person there. Expecting a call from Anguilla to give me an update on what's happening there. I'm told that they're COVID-free, whatever that means. I hope the person can call in and explain to us here in St. Kitts. They're actually our national St. Kitts and Nevis, so we would like to hear what's happening over in Anguilla And then I expect an update from Antigua. But just a caveat, I'm going to ask the callers who call into the program today. I know it's called Voices, and it's the platform for you to air your opinion, ask questions, etc. But I'm going to suggest that if you're fortunate to get in, say at least twice, because the folks who said they've been trying to get in forever, they can't. If you're fortunate to get in on the line for, say, at least twice, if you really don't have to call back, don't. But if you do, try to keep it as short and succinct as possible. That way other people can get in on the line and get their voices across on the various topics that they wish to expound on, or just ask a question. So for the folks who have that technique, because people say, well, no, I do not control the board, and I don't think the chap on the board picks out who can get through. But if you've got a technique and you're fortunate to get through, you do not have to call in 2, 3, 4, 5 times if you want to make the same point. So, as I say, it's a platform where you can call in and voice your opinion on various issues. As long as we keep it civil, not get personal, it's a wonderful program called Voices. So, what do we have on the topic today to discuss? We have a suggestion in terms of the stimulus package. A young lady said to me, maybe we can implement the welfare program. And I said, how so? And the suggestion was, or the recommendation was, rather than the government give that, whatever the figure is, directly to the affected workers, why not put it into a program where they can go to, say, okay, it's about $1,000 a month. Let's work with that. You have a food stamp program where you get a voucher of the value of $250 that you can take to the supermarkets. Not only within the Bastille area, but in the rural areas, you can go and shop there. So the government give that money to those supermarkets at a wholesale price, buy it wholesale price, and therefore you can get your voucher and go and do your shopping, not having to come to Bastille. If you live in the Keon area, there should be shops out there where you can go and take your voucher and shop up to whatever amount. I thought that was a good idea because not always the folks at the top have the best ideas. The details would have to be trashed out, but it's a suggestion. Because that way, the persons who are affected can only buy food items. As the person was saying, they can't go to this bar, they can't go to the hair salon with it, etc. It's for food, little things. People get creative when they're backed in a corner. And we have yet to see what the new norm will be. As we speak, there's a call on the line. Caller, good day. You're live on Voices. I talk too much. Sorry about the caller. Can you please try and get back in on the line? You'll be the first call of the day, so we hope that you can get back in as soon as possible. And then over the weekend, we had the chairman of Carnival speaking about caller, you're live on Voices. Good day, caller. You're live on Voices.
Hi, good morning, the King.
Good morning, sir. How about that?
I'm giving thanks. You say 10 day Maui. Have to give thanks.
Yes, we count the blessings first.
Before you have to really appreciate life and give thanks.
Yes.
Speaking of the stimulus package from the government, you as the new president of the, I think it's called for the taxi, Southern Taxi, and two other presidents, Mr. David Brandy and Mr. Barry, that I know him as.
Barry Daniel.
Barry Daniel.
Yes, sir.
Sat and had some discussions on the way forward. As anyone would be aware that our main industry, which is tourism, was severely affected, not just on St. Kitts, but globally. And in order to chart the way forward as president, you had discussions with the relevant authority of tourism.
We were actually invited. The other two presidents and I, we were invited by the tourism authority to give our opinion and make suggestions as how they could assist us. Hello.
What would be the follow-up plan? Are you await certain information from what the president has recommended?
Well, we were told, and there was another meeting on the following Saturday with the Transportation Board, of which I was invited to. We did that via Zoom. And in both cases, we were told that the recommendations and suggestions will be taken on board to Cabinet for discussion, and they will get back to us. So officially, they've not gotten back to us. Us being the presidents of the St. Kitts Tax Association, Mr. Barry Daniel, the president of the La Amiga Tax Association, Mr. Flames, David Flames Brandy, and myself, representing the St. Kitts Taxi Cooperative. So we were in discussion with the authorities. One was chaired by Minister Grant. The other was chaired by Minister Liebert. And in both cases, we were told they would take those suggestions/recommendations to Cabinet and get back to us. So I have been asked a myriad of questions. What's going on? I am still awaiting the government's official response on that. So I don't know what you've heard, but let's discuss it.
Well, I haven't heard much, but I recall that there was all three of you sat, in which I did call in on a previous Voices program, and that to me, fortunately, I observed. I was coming down the Bay Road and I saw two gentlemen walking towards the Sands Complex. And I know from the onset, the dwindling down of the cruise ship season, there were certain things on the table that the president wanted to hear their views on and whatever, use the medium, the Voices program, to do so. So I kind of got that inclination that both gentlemen was going towards the studio. It wasn't 11 as yet.
Oh, that was my first hosting of Voices. That was roughly about a month ago. I don't know if you had a chance of listening to it, but we were just speaking about possibilities, how the virus has affected our industry, what we were hopeful to achieve against the backdrop of the stimulus package mentioned by the Prime Minister. So we were just brainstorming as to what can happen, but we did make a commitment to work together collectively to see what change we can bring to our industry in going forward.
I was somewhat disappointed a little bit towards, we are a fraternity, and there are lots of members of that fraternity, be it the St. Kitts Corp of the Corp or the two other associations. And there are ways and means whereas members can be informed prior to. And so I would hope that going forward, that medium or that channel must be utilized effectively to reach more members so that the listening audience, and we do all have issues, we do have recommendations, we do can learn to repertoire, so to speak, of enhancing our it's ours. It's what we love to do. We love to interact.
Okay, here's what happened. For the very first meeting that you referred to, Mr. Brandy and Mr. Daniel didn't have a lot of latitude in terms of notice. I gave them a short notice, and so Whereas with the St. Kitts Taxi Cooperative, we have a chat, and I was able to share that information to my membership in the chat that we were having this program. Mr. Brandy and Mr. Daniel was given very short notice and was unable to reach out to their membership. Since then, we have agreed that next time they be on, everybody will be informed. As a matter of fact, I've asked taxi drivers to stay tuned to keep abreast of what's happening. They have issues like yourself calling, let's discuss it. And sometimes I guess it's because they can't get in. I've had just about 2 or 3 calls from taxi drivers. So, yes, I apologize for that first episode where people felt that they were not informed prior to, but we are beyond that now.
Yes, because, we have technologies that would have given us the advantage to communicate otherwise. And it's, speaking of, the quarantine and being at home and, for these days and the like, one would have time to do other things otherwise. And it's just yesterday, while going on YouTube and looking at the documentary, it's something that I knew, but I sent that YouTube documentary to 2 of my fellow taxi members because it is something that I knew concerning what we call Brimstone Hill. But in the medieval times, the Brimstone Hill was also known by another name, Gibraltar. And when I go there, I like to inform my guests, my visitors, about the origin of the name Gibraltar. So I came across that documentary, and the documentary also spoke about how the name Gibraltar came about. And I did share that information with my guests. Yes, I'm 2 of my fellow taxi association members yesterday.
Gibraltar, the West Indies. Named after the rock of Gibraltar.
Because of a conquest of what we call the Iberian Peninsula, which entails Spain and Portugal. And it was the name of one of the generals that actually was of the Berber army. I think he originally was from Senegal, but he was a part of what was called the province of Mauritania, which Mauritania is a country today, but it is on the western coast of Africa, the continent of Africa, which is not the same place where Mauritania used to be. The province of Mauritania entails part of Algeria and the whole of Morocco. That was the province of Mauritania. There's a country by the name of Mauritania, which is on the west coast of Africa.
I know of it.
Yes, and so it was the guy, his name was Jabel, or Gabel, with a G, because the J is new, is a new alphabetic character to the language, especially the English character. So before the J, words used to be spelled differently. So is Gabal Tariq. And the Gabal Tariq, the Berber, the Moor, who went and conquered the Iberian Peninsula, he looked back and saw what it's known today in the Mediterranean Sea as the Rock of Gibraltar.
Yes, I've heard the phrase.
That area was called, in ancient times, that little area there to come into the Mediterranean from the Atlantic Ocean was once called the Pillars of Hercules. But there, he looked back and he said, he called the rock off of his name, Gabal. And from Gabal, Gabal, became Gibral. And the last part of his name, Tariq, they just used the first 3 letters, T-A-R, which became Tar.
So Gibraltar.
Gibraltar.
Okay.
So I share that information with them, in order to widen their repertoire in
Knowledge
terms
base.
of doing a meaningful tour. Because I think that our association, even though we do seminars, I think a lot of our members, we are missing the point. A lot of us are so disconnected. Sometimes we speak to our guests, and we are speaking to our guests as if the history is not ours. We are not claiming we are not owning what is ours. We are so at a distance from what is ours. When I say ours, we are so disconnected. We don't know who we are. So even though I wasn't there through certain atrocities, I physically wasn't there. My grandmother was there. My grandfather was there. So through that bloodline, I have to feel the pain also.
You're identifying.
It doesn't come a time
claiming
that
your
I
heritage.
does not feel the pain. I enjoy their success, and I also feel their agony. And that is where we, as a destination, as a country, as a nation, should be proud of our forebearers, our ancestors, who have paved the way for us. So all of the benefits of the good things we enjoy now, it just doesn't fall out of the sky into our lap. And so we have to say we, or the Rastafarians say I and I. The oneness, the totalness of it. And last week, I enjoyed Mrs. Henry. I want to say good morning to you, Mrs. Henry. I like to call her
I trust you're
Queen Mother,
listening.
Mrs. Henry.
Yes.
I enjoy her contribution, the way she really expounded and articulated something that is being overlooked. How, and it also intertwined with the pandemic. And it seems like, certain relevant authorities or the way things is being organized. Because life is precious and human lives are to be cherished. All human beings need to look at one individual differently than saving and preserving life. And
Okay.
I really enjoyed Mrs. Henry's contribution. But that's just my piece for now. I have more to say, but another time I will come in and really elaborate. Do you have any
Thank
questions?
you. Pardon?
You have any questions?
Not more because we're going to pause for station ID break at the moment.
Yes. All right.
So perhaps later on we can have a little chit chat, okay?
Yes.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Okay, you're listening to Voices. I'll just pause for a word from our sponsors.
Here comes the sun.
Sun quick.
Here comes the sun.
Sun quick.
Sunny flavors for everyone. Natural, tasty, full of vitamin C. The drink for the whole family. It's Sunquick. Sunquick Drink Concentrate gives you 40 glasses. 9 delicious flavors to choose from.
Orange tropical mango.
Peach orange, orange apricot, black currant.
Apple. Red orange. Red fruit.
Bursting with vitamin C.
Sun quick.
Natural, tasty, full of vitamin C. The drink for the whole family. It's Sunquick.
Flo's new combo plan, the people's plan. Combo. Got a new combo plan. You can call anyone, no matter which network you they on. Just use your Flo.
I want a combo, but not for my belly. I feel me cell phone, so me call anybody. Call Mr. Man, call Granny. On the island, Flo, come combo me.
Yes, there is no need for to force no more. Cause it flow combo plan, you're paying less for more.
Flo got a new combo plan. You can call anyone, no matter which network you they on. Just use your Flo.
Dial star 129 number sign to activate your combo plan today.
We're back in the studios of WinFM 98.9, and it's just about 27. Okay, we got a call on the line. Call your live on Voices.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Host.
Good morning, sir. How art thou?
I'm great and blessed in Jesus Christ. Thank
Wonderful.
Jesus Christ for that.
Wonderful,
Yes,
sir.
Yes, and greetings in the name of Jesus Christ, the only Savior of sinners and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, first of all, I would like to say, my mind goes a lot on some people who are not to be very poor. And I'm always wondering during this time of government enforced lockdown and that how they have been doing some poor people, because I know that it's a daily thing for them to struggle to get something to eat. So I've been wondering that during the lockdown, how have they been coping? And not only that, I'm just wondering if some of those people who got arrested were people probably who were going about maybe by somebody else to see if they could get something to eat. And I'm just wondering.
It's a good question.
That came across my mind.
Very thoughtful.
If that was the case, my heart really goes out to them. Secondly, I would like to say, you talk about we living in hope and that sort of stuff, and some other days peace and calm and that sort of stuff. And I have started to realize the same thing too. But what I would say is this: is that we are living in a false hope and false security, because we are still not obeying the word of God. And when you're not obeying the word of God, whatever peace and calm and tranquility and security you have, it is false. Because God in his own time will pull the rug under you when he is ready in his own way to show you that the peace you think you had and security you think you had before is false. We are not doing things from the highest in the land to the lowest in the land. We are not doing things in accordance with the word of God. We are going against the word of God in every area of life. And so therefore, this so-called peace and calm and so that we are having is not really of God. It's him testing us to see if we're going to obey his word, which we are not doing. And if we continue in our disobedience to his word, he will in his own time, as he has done for all nations according to his word, bring his judgment and wrath upon us even more for disobeying his word. And we have to realize this is the way that God operates. We think that because we have not had any COVID death, that things are all right. No, as a matter of fact, it probably would have been better for us if we had a few COVID deaths, or however much it takes, and because of that, we turn to God. That would have been far better if that is what it took for us to turn to God.
The CEO and her team and all the advice have indicated that the numbers would go up. So I wasn't suggesting that we were in the clear. I was speaking about the atmosphere that prevailed downtown. I wasn't saying that we're in the clear, we should celebrate and not to worry about anything else. As a matter of fact, I was saying that this may continue for some time. But compared to where we were a month ago, there's a sense of easement and people are feeling... Yeah, go ahead. Let me not interrupt you. Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry to cut across. I'm sorry to cut across here.
No, go ahead. I was trying to qualify what I was saying earlier. I wasn't trying to say that we're in the clear and we should not pay attention to what's going on. I was saying that the CMO did indicate that the numbers would go up. But what prevailed downtown this morning, compared to the sense of panic that we had about a month ago, people seem to be adapting to the new norm. Yeah,
people seem to be adapting, and I didn't mean to imply that you were saying we are clear, because I heard you specifically said that the numbers expected to increase and we are not out the woods yet. I heard you very clearly said that. So I mean to imply in any way that you were saying we are out of it. But like I said, I heard you said the very contrary. So we should agree with you with that.
But you're saying from a biblical standpoint, we are enjoying a false sense of security. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, right. We are enjoying a very false sense of security. security, because there's no security, true security, and at the same time you are operating in disobedience to the word. And not only that, but ultimately and above else, if you die outside of Christ, you're going to go to hell for all eternity. But if you die inside of Christ and save from your sins, you're going to go to heaven to be with him for all eternity. So in many ways, when we are not operating according to the word of God, when we are not living according to the word of God, and sad to say, the religious organizations today, that many of them that call themselves churches, are actually in the forefront, leading the charge in us not doing things according to the word of God, in us being in disobedience to the word of God, because like many of the churches in the book of Revelation and the Corinthian churches and so today, a lot of them are actually living in disobedience to the word of God and are not informing our leaders properly how to do things the Bible way, because they also don't even know. There are a lot of these church leaders are concerned. So, so in all areas, we're just disobeying the word of God. And because of that, like I said, we are living in a false sense of security, because when you're living disobedience to the word of God, God must judge sin, and God will, in his time, that peace and tranquility that you think you're having, he will pull it from under you, and your fall will be a lot harder.
Okay, sir.
Lastly, I would like to say, when it comes to stimulating an economy, well, first of all, I would like to say, the way to go is always the Bible way. And if you're going to do the Bible way, nothing is better in stimulating an economy and people. First of all, well, I disagree with the total lockdown because it was anti-scriptural, it was going against the Bible. But since that was done, to correct things and to go and to do things the bad way is to open up fully, the quicker the better, and 2, decrease taxes, 3, decrease government regulations, which these things will be going in the Bible's direction, and this is the best way to stimulate any economy, because this is what creates businesses, this is what creates employment, increase the standard of living, decrease the cost of living, etc. Because it's the creation of jobs what we need right now, because the economy has taken a good hit because of these lockdowns and that sort of stuff. And also because of outward factors as well. The economy has taken a very great hit, and the only thing that could stimulate, like I said, do things the Bible way, which includes decreasing taxes, decreasing government regulations, and the more you decrease those things, the more the economy would pick up, the more the economy would increase, the more jobs would be increased, and the quicker and the more people will be getting back to work and that sort of stuff, and getting back to business and that sort of stuff. But even in an increased manner, which is so much better.
Okay.
So we need to realize, hey, let us start to do things the Bible way, from the highest to the lowest in the land, because that is what's going to bring the blessings of God to the Federation. Other than that, you're living in false hope, you're living in false security, and God in his time will judge sin, and he will pull the rug from under you in his time, and your fall will be a lot worse if we continue in our disobedience to the word of God. So let us all repent as individuals and repent as a nation and follow the Bible. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that contribution. I will suspect the relevant authorities are listening and will probably take your suggestions on board. I would like to hear, if possible, from our nationals around the globe as to how they've been affected by COVID-19. We have news that 5 of our nationals in the New York area succumbed to the virus, and we extend our sympathies to their families locally and abroad. As somebody pointed out, we don't have any death related to COVID-19 here within the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, but our nationals out there who are exposed on a much wider scale. They're out there in the New York area, the Florida area, etc., and they are also being affected. So we extend our condolences to these families of these persons, and it brings home the point that it crosses borders. Now, we know that New York is the epicenter of the disease in the U.S., and their numbers compared to other territories are very high. But because it's a melting pot for many nationalities and cultures, we have our people out there. And so we have to bear that in mind and look at the effect of the virus how it destroys lives, and make a undertaking, make a promise to yourself to do all that you can to ensure that this thing doesn't spread and affect others. You have the responsibility in your daily actions, in the way you go about town, society, to observe the safety measures and make a contribution to making sure that COVID-19 don't add another victim to his long list. And so, once again, our condolences to the families and all those affected by COVID-19 locally, and those who succumbed, those who passed on to the great beyond. Call on the line. You're live on Voices.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I think I'm coming to blessings. I'm okay. Yourself?
I'm okay so far. I heard the first caller, but I didn't get a chance to listen to the end. Did he give you any ideas on our way forward for our future? Taxi drivers?
No, I would have asked him the question there, but here's what. Are you a taxi driver?
Yeah.
Well, let's get your opinion. He may have
you
missed his...
know I got the drum, and I think the drum going out of tune now, you know.
Beat it. Let's discuss it.
Ownership.
Of the industry?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that drum going out of tune. I spoke to the minister direct before this thing started. I think it was sometime late last year. I saw him and I spoke to him about it. And I don't know. We got to do something because, you know...
When you say ownership, please expound on that for me. Because you have hundreds of individuals who've got their own vehicles and say, well, this is mine, I work for me. So ownership in what context?
You ever look at our business license and look at what the head of it is saying?
Not really, but enlighten the Federation, enlighten our listeners.
Okay. Well, how should really? I don't have one to my hand. But it's not saying that you own the business, you know. It's saying that you operate in a business, you operate in.
Okay.
It doesn't say you has a business. Oh, good. I just remember. Business or occupation license. That's what it mark. Business/occupation license. So basically, I look at the last one, occupation. I don't have a business. Because if I send out to consolidate and say I'm going to sell my vehicle, I can't sell it with the plate as a business. So if you want to say I'm going to buy him out, and the authorities say, well, you cannot have that number, or you can't get any more numbers, I didn't sell you a business.
True.
You understand what I'm saying?
Correct.
A business is something that you could buy and operate. But if you're going to buy a taxi with a plate and the authorities is going to tell you cannot have that number and you ain't going to get no other number, you didn't buy a business.
Okay.
So that's what I'm referring to as getting, because the bus drivers has a business. And they have a business. We don't have any business. We operate as occupation.
Okay. I never look at it that way because I say I pay business license and I have license to operate.
No, you pay occupation license.
Okay.
That's what you pay, an occupation license. You don't have a business. A business is something that you could sell and achieve something from it. You can't sell your occupation.
So you're speaking about ownership. How do we get there?
Of the number, so we could say we have a business. Once we get that number in our ownership, we could say we have a business.
The medallion
because
system you're talking about?
Operating a taxi, if the number is not yours, it doesn't have a business.
Are you referring to the medallion system?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
I opposed that. I tried that some time ago. I was actually putting plans together to approach, I would say Parliament to discuss it, but that never got off the ground.
Okay, what you have to do, this is wasted time now. We ain't got nothing to do, as you say. Draft the documents and get signatures. So when you go forward to debate or to put something forward, you say, these are the people who is interested in having ownership of the business.
Okay.
Because you cannot go and say, and they'll say, well, who are interested? And then when they go to them individually, they say, tell me, that's your idea. Once you got it in writing with a signature, the number of your vehicle number, the taxi ID number, you know that you have people behind you, so you could go forward and they can't deny it because the signature is there.
I think that's the approach the other presidents and I have discussed will take. In terms of representation, we are not going to go on making a representation on anyone unless we have their signatures on the documents.
Right. So what you have to do, get the documents draft and get the signatures. So we would put with taxi number, with taxi ID number, and with contact number. And we go from there. Because the time things spin around and the country open back up, we ain't got no time to discuss nothing.
Fair enough.
This is the time when we ain't doing nothing, so we could put plans in place. So when we get started again, we, as I say, hit the ground running.
I will gladly take that suggestion on board. I did have intention to push it previous time, but great point.
We got to do it now, Socrates. Remember, we ain't not young, you know.
Really?
And you know what Social Security is telling us?
Where is he this morning?
Where you see me this morning?
Yeah.
We've been talking this morning ever since.
In the senior.
You understand what I'm saying? Remember the deck is stuck against us. Mm-hmm. They say it's we the people that want to get out the wall with tangle in the foot.
All right, okay.
So we got to get something in place. So whosoever left behind could say, well, at least he served the country for so many years, and this is what he left for me.
Point well taken. Appreciate that.
Yeah. You see the guy before, you know, he carrying out hot lunches every Sunday. Maybe he could get one. Me and you ain't got nobody to go on to get a hot lunch.
I see. Okay.
And you know, they're telling us that we can't get it $250 a week from them.
That's what they say?
Secretary, I'll continue listening if I get a chance to call back. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for your contribution. Have a wonderful one. I will say that we would like to hear from our nationals around the world. We have Barbados trying to get in on the line. I hope she can get in. As I said, sometimes the lines get tied up. We have a young lady, one of our nationals in Barbados. I'm asking our nationals around the world to call in if they can and give us an idea as to what's happening in the neck of the woods. Caller, you're live on Voices. Good day, caller. You're live on Voices.
Hi, good day, Socrates. Your last caller, is he telling me that persons who has maybe 5 taxis or 4, how much ever the limit is, they're not business persons?
They're registered as a company.
Have business license.
Yes, they do have.
And sometimes some of them don't drive for themselves. They hire people, so they are in a business. I would really like him to explain that, and I figure you missed the ball there as well.
They're taxi operators license, and you have the tow companies, right? Up to 2 or 3 vehicles, you have to register as a tow company.
Good,
tow operator.
Okay.
But we all apply for business license. But what he's saying is that it's a business or operators license. But as far as it's concerned, I pay a business tax.
Yeah, but okay? I'm still saying it is a business for those who has more than one vehicle.
Yeah, they have to register as a tour.
Right, and they pay a business license.
That is correct. We pay also. We pay also. I think we pay about $100.
Sometimes I feel these taxi people are very selfish. That's just my idea.
Let me hear you with that. Go ahead.
No, that's just how I feel. Because I mean, he just thinking about himself. Maybe 1 or 2 who he's saying if he wants to say his occupation is a taxi driver, fine, but he can't determine that for everybody.
I think he was referring to the medallion system that gives you ownership of your number.
Yeah.
That prevails in other parts of the world.
I'm still saying some taxi people operate as business people.
I think we all should. Once you've had the business license, we all should.
Right, so he probably need to get his act together as far as that is concerned.
Well, he's...
Yeah, all right.
I know the chap. Once you get a chance, you'll call back and sort it out, okay? Your Voices. Yes, I saw Barbados was trying to get in. I'm still waiting to hear from Montserrat, from Anguilla, from the U.S. And there's a caller on the line. Caller, you're live on Voices.
Good morning, King. How are you doing?
Come to the blessings. Yourself.
Yes, New York Joe. What's going on?
Oh, Mr. Joe, I see you on Facebook all the time with my friend. Welcome to Voices. How are things out there?
Thank you.
You got the mic.
Huh?
You've got the mic, Mr. Mason.
Yeah. You say you want nationals to call in, so
Definitely.
I let me call, and say, well, at least you all doing a much better job in St. Kitts than they are doing here in New York.
In terms of?
Well, the controlling people and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's still a lot of move around here in New York ever since they said stay home and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this disease spread rapidly in New York, I think more so than anywhere else in the world.
Is the epicenter?
Yeah. So, I mean, other than the laws they put in place, I mean, we need enforcement. Because, I mean, the people just still out there like it's nothing, man.
You run a barbershop, right?
Yeah.
So talk to us. Let us know. Well, some of us know who you are. Just talk to us. We have next 7 minutes before voices. We need to hear from our people out there. You've called in. Talk to us. What's going on?
Yeah, what happened? I mean, the barbershop, I own 2 barbershops. The state locked down all barbershop, beauty parlor, nail and tattoos, from 5 weeks ago. The government said they were going to provide help and stuff like that, but only the big companies getting help. You apply for all this help. So actually we have no income, absolutely no income. They tell you to apply for unemployment, all that kind of stuff, but it's very difficult to get all that kind of stuff, But we hoping for the best because what happened is the businesses that are open up here, they have the six feet rule, and they have the minimum customer in the stores.
Okay.
But for some reason,
Sorry, you're breaking up.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're using Wi-Fi, you want to shift your location, but there's some static on the line. We're not hearing it clearly.
No, I'm on the line. Hear me better?
It's improving.
Okay, very good. Yeah, so the control and stuff of people here is not like in St. Kitts. You know what I mean? Because you all have, from what I understand, you all have zones and stuff down there.
Zone A one day, Zone B, zone 1, Zone 2, yes.
Yeah, up here they just tell the people to stay home, but hardly anybody staying home.
No compliance.
It's spreading like crazy,
No compliance.
Yeah, the compliance is very limited, very, very, very limited. But every day I get phone calls and texts and all that kind of stuff on Facebook. I mean, there's so many people we lost. So many people that in my circle, that we have lost. And I myself was lucky, because I was sick. But even though the COVID-19 test come back negative, it could have been a false reading.
You were affected by it?
Oh yeah. Yep.
I'm happy to hear that you recovered. I'm happy to hear that you're here with us still.
Yeah. But even though the COVID-19 test came back negative, but they say it could have been a false reading. But I mean, it's terrible. It's not a good thing, man. It's not a good thing. Trust me. I don't wish it on my worst enemy.
So you experience the physical impact of it.
Yeah, man. The breathing and all that kind of stuff. The loss of appetite, taste, and all that kind of stuff. The diarrhea, everything, man. Everything that come with it, I experienced it. But my blood pressure also went down to 88/60, which was that was going in the coma zone.
Okay.
When I got to the hospital, they put me in front of all the corona patients because of my blood pressure. They bring me back up and they discharged me about 7 hours later. But I mean, so far all is well. I'm back to normal, walking like 2 to 3 miles a day.
Wow.
So everything is coming back to normal. But I'm just asking everybody, just who listen in the New York area, just please comply. And when these stores open up, and you don't know who have it, maybe 1 or 2 people out there have it. I mean, if one have it, that one can spread it to hundreds of people. So we got to be very, very, very careful.
We're hearing from someone who are directly affected by COVID-19, one of our nationals living in the New York area, Mr. Joe Mason. He owns a couple of barbershops. He's very, very popular, and he's saying that he actually had it. He's speaking to our people, but it's just humbling.
Yeah, it's bad. It's terrible, man. It's dangerous, terrible. But just tell the people just to comply. I mean, when we go back to work, we have to work in mask. We have to keep customers outside, bring them in one by one, and all that kind of stuff, man. It's just,
Okay.
So.
I'm sorry I have to cut you, but I think somebody's trying to get to me on the phone. If you can get back, please, because we want to hear from people up there. All right?
Yes, man. Goodbye to hello to all nationals.
All right, sir. Thanks a lot.
Take care now. Thanks a lot. All right.
Hello there. We were hearing from New York Joe Mason, the national of St. Kitts and Nevis, living in the New York area. We have a call on the line.
Socrates, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Not too bad at all. And morning to all the listeners. Me no want to call out today.
Okay.
But me want to back up the young lady, the last young lady that called you. Me not go really back here.
Pause for a second, Mansfield. Pause for a second. Just a second.
Okay, well, let me get after lunch.
After lunch? Okay, thanks. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Joe, the management of Win FM would like you to call the station for a news item. They would like to hear from you directly. I mean, we know who you are, and we know who you represent out there. But as a person who was affected by COVID-19 and has recovered and can be able to speak to what you went through and reach out to people here in the Federation, I think that they would like you to call the station directly and speak to management, and they will interview. And I think you'll appreciate the value of that news item. It goes a long way. So please, after the news, even before, I'm going to get the number to you for the Mr. Bacchus upstairs, and you can do a phone interview. Okay, Monserrat, sorry I had to cut you, but that was a message that I had to go to Mr. Joe Mason, a national of us of the Federation living out there in the New York area, a person who is attesting to have been affected by the virus and was given a false reading, but he suffered and he knows what he went through and would not wish it on his worst enemies, in his words. As we post the midday news hour, I would ask you guys who was trying to get in, not to give up, try to get in the line after the luncheon interlude so we can continue our conversation on today's episode of Voices. My name is Socrates, your host for today. We pause now for the station ID and the midday news item. Thank you.
Found the South 98.9.
We now bring you the Win FM Headline News. The Win FM Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, Carib Brewery, CNC Trading.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. With LLB. Live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime, and bitters. Live, love, be.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic, and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tilly Wall with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Dealey Walwyn, people you can trust.
Premier Mark Brantley, the Federation's Foreign Affairs Minister, has been commenting on the current economic situation in the region, a region he describes as being incredibly vulnerable.
The reality is that as small economies and small countries, the exogenous shocks that we continue to endure year after year are simply too much pressure for us to bear. So even though we ask for greater resilience and greater ability to respond and greater independence, the truth is that we face some vulnerabilities that are some of the most acute in the world. Even as we're dealing with COVID-19, a tragedy that obviously was not created by us and has arrived unwelcomed to our shores. We are now preparing for a hurricane season which starts in another 2 months. And we don't know what that is going to bring, whether we will be spared this year or whether we'll have another calamity heaped upon this one that we're already experiencing. So the truth is that whilst many, like myself, advocate for greater independence and self-reliability, so to speak, we also have to accept that we are in a region which is incredibly vulnerable, and that is why many of us have advocated at the highest levels, through diplomatic and other channels, that the world and the IMF and the World Bank and all these major institutions must start to look at the vulnerability index.
Premier Brantley was speaking on Observer Radio's Big Issues program Sunday. So was broadcaster Vincentian Jerry George, who spoke about the region's food security issues.
We are basically in an area where agriculture should form a significant portion of our economy. Does it? It doesn't. And so we have developed our economies based on things that are not sustainable. And this is driving us. And why this is even fearful in this particular context is the fact that this situation will force us into the question of our security. And that is one of the biggest fears I have, that if the supply chain cut and this region certainly is going to struggle with finding food, there's not enough food in the ground here. And we have good lands, good water, but our economic development has not catered for that. This is where we're going to have to become very creative, innovative, and worse than that, we need really sound leadership, political and otherwise, to lead us out of here. This is no time for glib talk, This is not a hurricane that passes through, even if it's a hurricane strength 6. I don't know about those. That comes and rips the place apart, and then a few days after, you stand looking at the environment and say, boy, this is bad, and then you start to decide where to pick up the pieces. This is not that. This is going to be with us for quite a while, and it's going to shake. Look at remittances. The World Bank says our remittances are going to drop by 20%. Think of the number of our nationals who have died in New York City, where a lot of the remittances come from. It's not going to come. Think about the number of them unemployed. Remittances was the other area that buoyed our economy. It's not there anymore.
Meanwhile, Premier Brantley picked up on the question of remittances and food security being affected by COVID-19.
I'm a little concerned at the question that this has shown up the soft underbelly. I think that was the language employed of Caribbean economies. Economies are, as we know, fashioned in different ways. And I think the Caribbean has, for a very long time, has a service-oriented economy, principally dependent on tourism. Whether that is sustainable or not, I think that we have to be perhaps careful in the language, because the truth be told, that COVID-19 has brought global economies to their knees. Jerry mentions the United States and places like New York. The reason why remittances are going to fall off is because those economies have been brought to their knees. So is it that we're also saying that the United States economy, the UK economy, that they have a soft underbelly? I think that this is an unprecedented experience for us in the region. And whilst we can certainly take valuable lessons away from it, and I agree that food security has now to be a priority for our region, I think it is somewhat a little harsh to say that somehow we were unprepared. If that is the analysis, then I dare say that no one was prepared for COVID-19, because we have seen the carnage that it has wrought globally in countries that are far more advanced, far more developed, and have far more resources than we do in the Caribbean.
Premier Mark Brantley was asked about his decision to forego his Navy salary until the pandemic is over, and his ministers in the NIA agreeing to take a 10% salary reduction for the next 3 months.
So I have been able to do that, but I am cautious because I see that is being interpreted in some quarters as somehow putting pressure on others to do the same. I think that each of us is differently placed and differently positioned. Each of us has different obligations. Each of us is doing what we can in our own way. Some may be able to offer some financial type of assistance. Others may offer something as valuable as their time.
Premier Mark Brantley on Observer Radio in Antigua.
Efforts are afoot by the Department of Agriculture to ensure that the Federation does not feel the effects of a food crisis during the upcoming hurricane season. The season, which begins on June 1st, runs until the end of November, is expected to be above normal with about 14 to 16 storms. During an interview with WinFM, Agriculture Director Melvin James suggested short-term crops that can be harvested during the season and stored.
Yes, we are encouraging increased production. But guess what? It's sort of like a lot of short-term crops, 3-month crops. So once we get into at least one good cycle, we will be able to harvest just ahead of the 1 or 2 good cycles. We'll be able to harvest ahead of the hurricane season. We're ever mindful that by the time you finish August, although nowadays it's sometimes we go a little later down in the year, the hurricane season, and then there's predictions for active season. But we still have a few months, and so we're asking our farmers in a particular program. We need to know who the farmers are. In fact, as we speak, the extension officers are out there in the field today and tomorrow, engaging the farmers so that we know exactly who we can expect to be ramping up their production for what we call the stimulus package.
While calling for the support for local producers during the season and the crops, the director raised concerns about wastage.
But again, we're encouraging crops that come in 2.5 to 4.5 months so that we could harvest them ahead of the hurricane season. We wouldn't want that having produced them, they go to waste. And that's one wastage. The other wastage goes back to what we spoke before, that our persons here would want to consume them because they are the things that we're accustomed to: squash, pumpkins, cabbage, carrots. But we're saying think local, buy local, support local.
There are now 4 confirmed cases who have recovered with 0 deaths.
That's the kind of information many in St. Kitts and Nevis say they want to hear more of. Developments giving hope this is an indication that the efforts aimed at keeping the virus at bay are yielding results. The news of 2 additional patients who had contracted COVID-19 have now recovered came from spokesperson of the Health Emergency Operations Center, Dr. Marisa Carty. Dr. Carty on Sunday gave the daily situation report on the pandemic that included the confirmation that so far 4 people have recovered from the coronavirus.
As of Sunday, 26th April, the World Health Organization reports 2,804,796 confirmed cases of COVID-19, with 193,722 deaths. In the Federation, 292 persons have been tested, with 15 confirmed positive, 247 confirmed negative, with 30 results pending. There are now 4 confirmed cases who have recovered, with 0 deaths. There is currently 1 person quarantined in a government facility, while 85 persons are quarantined at home. 11 persons remain in isolation, while 661 persons have been released from quarantine.
The police have slapped a murder charge on Sadler's resident Daniel Phipps. 33-year-old Phipps was charged for the offense said to have been committed on April 22.
I'm also pleased to inform that the police have formally arrested and charged Daniel Phipps of Sadler's for the murder of 22-year-old Clement Mills of Parsons. Mills was fatally shot at his home at Parsons Village at about 9 p.m. on April 22nd. The police wish to thank those who assisted in any way in this investigation and will continue to solicit your support in police operations.
Police Superintendent Cromwell Henry. Resident pathologist Dr. Adrian Nunes, who performed an autopsy on Mills's body, concluded that death was as a result of a severe brain injury due to a gunshot wound to the head. The government is giving assurances that students pursuing academic studies overseas are not being ignored or neglected in the fight against COVID-19. Questions on that matter have been articulated by some critics who want to see, they say, more attention being paid to the overseas students facing hardship because of the situation in the countries in which they are based at universities and other institutions of learning. Here's one example of the kind of advice being offered to the government.
Students overseas, as a result of this virus, a lot of them could not get home, travel restrictions and so. I would have hoped that some time ago government would have brought home all who wanted to and were unable to afford to do so on their own. And maybe it's not too late. Maybe they could organize a charter out of Miami or wherever. I don't know. It would be expensive, but maybe not too late. Alternatively, arrangements can be made to send them a stipend or some kind of financial support because they're our people, they're out there. Now, I'm speaking about students, not about Kittitians and divisions who are permanent residents in those countries. Because if they started saying they want to come back to St. Kitts, Lord have mercy on us, what a problem that would be. But they have rights here.
Prime Minister Timothy Harris says the overseas students are being looked after in a 3-pronged approach.
I want to make it absolutely clear that this government has been doing all that we humanly can to ensure that support is rendered, the support that we can render to our students, that support is being made available to them. I have outlined before that there is a 3-pronged approach, one involving our diplomatic mission, which of course must be the first response point to our citizens who are located abroad. Principally for those in the United States of America, Dr. Thelma Philip Brown is on hand to serve, and she has been doing a good job. I've indicated that through her own instrumentality, we have been able to mobilize support to our students there, and that will continue. I've indicated that beyond that work, the government will provide support on a need basis to those students who make an application, and that a committee comprising principally the Permanent Secretary in Education, Mr. Hodge, and the Chief Personnel Officer, at this time Permanent Secretary Andrew Skerritt, is working in that particular role, given that the substantive holder is on sick leave. The board will make assessment and determine the level of the grant support that will be accorded to each student.
Speaking on Win FM's Inside the News program Saturday, Prime Minister Harris also explained what the third prong of support for students is.
And that is, there are students who have indicated that in order for them to complete their program, which in some case will run on, they would need additional support. The Development Bank is the most significant provider of student loans, and we have asked the bank to do the facilitation and to apply the moratorium, which is now in vogue in the commercial banking sector, to any loan that is to be made, and to make sure that it offers the most generous interest rate. In terms of students coming back home, that of course is a challenge for students, for any citizen or any person outside of their jurisdiction. Truth is, almost every country has closed their port to normal traffic, save for cargo, save for emergency supplies, etc. And that, of course, means that our students will undergo the necessary consequences of that.
However, the Prime Minister indicated that the issue is getting some attention.
I should say that we have been in contact, the Minister of Education, with the personalities at LEAT to see whether charters could be made available to assist us in this regard. And I am assured that the Minister of Education is doing what is necessary.
Restrictions on arriving and departing flights to the country's airports are likely to remain in place for a while. That has been affirmed by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Transportation, Ron Collins. He referred to the matter during Saturday's COVID-19 daily briefing.
The Ministry of Transport, which also has responsibility for the operations of the air and seaports authorities, wish to make it clear that it fully supports the recommendation of the NEOC and do hereby advise continued restrictions on arriving and departing flights at and from the Robert Llewellyn Bracher and the Vance Ambury International Airports. So too on ships arriving and departing at and from our ports in Basti and Charlestown, that this remain in place in keeping with Cabinet decision regarding the continuing closure of our borders.
Christine Forbes, CVM Live. With the ongoing market opening restrictions, a number of vendors in Mandeville, Manchester, say the restrictions do not facilitate money making. By order of the Prime Minister Andrew Holness, markets across the country are to be opened on weekdays from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. and should be closed on Sundays. Now, this vendor who sells outside the Mandeville market says though they are told to conduct vending inside the market, they are not able to do so.
In there, very clustered up, right? And when I'm saying in social distance, it pack up like sardine tin, it just bungle up, right? And right now, me come from man and I don't sell not even $2,000. You understand? And when you're outside, you have space and all of that.
Another vendor explains that he is not registered and therefore has to play cat and mouse with the police.
I have to hide from the metro them, because I don't register, so I have to hide. So that just left me in one spot. I'm hungry right now, I don't know what to do. Because I spend like 13 bills to come here this morning, 7 bills to my fear. And time I add up that, I come out and I make back like 8 bills already. Which I don't really have a problem with people that do them thing, but the time cut down to like 4 o'clock, which means a man normally juggle like 5 o'clock in the evening on the street side. But I don't really register because the money not really strong on my side. I like, the money for register, I don't have that.
But vendors selling inside the market were singing a different tune.
I do not feel oppressed about the situation. We all have to work together that we can able to overcome the challenges at hand. It takes each and every one of us to make a difference. And we are looking on the long term, knowing that one of the time things will change again.
Anytime they give us, me work with it. Me come here at the time and me sell $500, me satisfied with it. I'm the happy soul. Praise God for what me sell every day. Because me used to sell enough and me I sell a little job, but me thank God for it.
The restrictions are a part of the government's efforts to slow the spread of the virus, especially in markets which encourage large gatherings.
Katie Dartford for Euronews. A new mantra for Italians as Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte announced his long-awaited timetable for getting the country back to normal after 7 weeks in lockdown. From May the 4th, public parks and gardens will reopen and people will be able to visit relatives who live in the same region. Manufacturing and building sectors can also resume activity as soon as they put safety measures in place against the virus.
Adesso inizia per tutti.
Now we start the phase of living together with the virus, and we must be aware that in this new phase, phase 2, the curve of infection may rise again in some areas of the country.
Conte also said that professional sports teams can resume training and libraries, museums and art exhibitions can reopen from May the 18th. In Spain, there were shrieks of joy as for the first time in 6 weeks, children were allowed out of their homes for up to an hour of play on Sunday. And from next weekend, Spaniards will be allowed to go out for exercise and to take walks. As well as Italy, Spain and France have also reported significant progress in bringing down infection rates, and both countries will announce more detailed plans for deconfinement on Tuesday. In the UK, which has joined Italy, Spain and France in recording over 20,000 virus-related deaths, there's been no more clarity on how the government will ease the lockdown. It's currently set to run until at least May the 7th. Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab has said that Britain will not just go back to normal, but it will be a new normal. Prime Minister Boris Johnson is due back at work today, and having suffered from the virus, he's said to be in favour of patience and caution when it comes to lifting the lockdown.
That was the Win FM Headline News, brought to you by KDP Enterprises, Caribbean Alliance, Carrie Brewery, CNC Trading, The Grange.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tilly Wall with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Delia Walwyn, people you can trust.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. With LLB.
lemon, lime, and bitters. Live, love, be.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM. Win FM weather.
When is the last time that you've had lunch or dinner away from home? The ambience of Sweet Cane on Port Zante provides you with that touch. Sweet Cane daily specials include burgers, wraps, soup, and tasty seafood dishes. Sweet Cane also caters for events and special parties. Call our Sweet Cane hotline at 465-4345 or 665-7628. Sweet Cane, they've got the touch.
This is your local weather forecast brought to you by Sweet Cane. Local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis, valid up to 8 a.m. tomorrow, Tuesday, 28th April. Synopsis, a very weak surface to low-level trough moving away from the area and another expected to move into the area tonight could generate a few light showers over the next 24 hours. Notwithstanding, high pressure remains the dominant weather feature and generally settled weather will prevail. Today's weather, mostly cloudy, becoming partly sunny this afternoon with a 30% or a low chance of morning showers. Tonight's weather, partly cloudy with a 30% or a low chance of overnight showers. Winds are east, ranging from 19 to 30 kilometers or 10 to 16 knots. Seas 0.9 to 1.8 meters or 3 to 6 feet. A small craft caution remains in effect for the eastern side of the island. Today's sunset 6:30 p.m. Tomorrow's sunrise 5:46 a.m. This has been your local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis, valid up to 8 a.m. tomorrow. This has been your local weather forecast brought to you by Sweet Cane.
When is the last time that you've had lunch or dinner away from home? The ambience of Sweet Cane on Port Zante provides you with that touch. Sweet Cane daily specials include burgers, wraps, soup, and tasty seafood dishes. Sweet Cane also caters for events and special parties. Call our Sweet Cane hotline at 465-4345 or 665-7628. Sweet Cane, they've got the touch.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9 Win FM.
Why not stay in? Turn off the alarm clock and sleep some more on your perfect mattress from Quartz. For the widest range of mattresses from the world's best brands, the best value guaranteed. Shop today and let our sleep experts help you to decide on the best option to suit your needs. At Quartz, we don't just sell mattresses, we're offering you the best night's sleep. So, sleep in a little on your new mattress from Quartz. Quartz, bringing value home.
How does it feel when you got that feeling? You got the flavor you love. How does it feel when you know you're not dreaming? There is nothing above.
How you feel when things come together? How you feel when everything nice? How you feel when you savor the flavor, the feeling you get when you taste every bite?
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 30 days of unlimited social messaging, 10 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, and 1,000 local anywhere calls and texts. With the always-on prepaid plan, all for $100. Keep your number when you switch to St. Kitts' most reliable LTE network. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
King Ocean, king of the Caribbean seas, announces king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St. Kitts. We have the best service and competitive rates on LCL and FCL cargo, including D&E containers, cars, heavy equipment, buses, boats, and barrels from Miami to St. Kitts. LCL pickup service anywhere in the U.S. Call local agents SL Horseman and Company Limited at 869-465-4086 or 869-662-5008 for further details. King Ocean's king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St. Kitts Nevis. King Ocean, king of the Caribbean seas.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the second segment of Voices. I'm told that there's a call on the line already. Good day, caller. You're live on Voices.
Good day, sir.
Yes.
I didn't want it to, but somebody forced me to.
Okay.
Now, when I call, I use the word we. I didn't say I and I didn't say me. The reason why I call back is that I want to ask a question before I continue.
Okay.
What's the difference between hearing and listening? Don't laugh.
Hearing is automatic. Listening is intentional.
Okay, good. Well, apparently, the lady that called, she wasn't listening. I said we should get ownership. Now, to be a tour operator, you don't have to have a vehicle to be a tour operator.
The license.
So if you're licensed as a tour operator, you have a business to operate tours, but you don't have a vehicle.
Correct.
Good. What I'm trying to say is that the taxi drivers don't have ownership of the number which is on their vehicle. So if I sell you my vehicle, which I operate to conduct my business, and the authorities don't want to give you the number to continue operating it, I didn't sell you a business. It's like I have a barber shop, and I say, listen, I'm going to sell the barber shop. But then I take out all the tools out the shop and sell the empty hall. I didn't sell the barber shop.
You didn't sell the business.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. So then she mentioned about all these people with all these vehicles. That doesn't have the rights to the number. It's like they're giving us a favor to use the number. At any given time, they could take the number from you and tell you, well, you ain't got the number, you can't operate. I know of a guy who bought a vehicle with a number, and when he started operating, they really mean he had to park up the vehicle for a whole year before he got his own number. I mean, you got the GT, you know how long it take you before you could get a number to put on it?
That's correct.
Then
I get your point. I think
if you ain't got a number.
I think it's a case of clarity, understanding what you mean as what is
That's
perceived.
what I'm trying to explain.
Okay.
We don't have ownership of the numbers. It ain't that I'm being selfish because I'm not driving for nobody. I'm saying if I want to sell my vehicle with the number, if the authorities don't want the buyer to operate it, I can't say he could buy it, but he can't operate it. So what a use he buy it if I can't sell him with the number?
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. The numbers does not belong to us. We getting ownership of the business means that we have the number to the vehicle. So when we're ready to dispose, we could dispose of everything if we care to.
So until we get the medallion system, we do not own the number.
Right.
Okay.
Then we have ownership of something. At the moment, we don't have any ownership. We're paying an occupation license.
Okay, I hope you learn clarity.
That's when you see marks business/occupation. So the one who wants to he's a tour operator. He paying for his business is tour operating. He don't got a vehicle. Some people might, some don't.
Okay,
if you pick up where I'm going with it.
Got you, yes.
Yeah, because you see a lot of people come down on the port and they say there's tour operator. When the people them come, they call and distribute it to different vehicles. They don't have no vehicle. But there's a tour operator. They have a tour operator license,
yeah.
But they don't have vehicles.
You have the taxi operator license, you have the tour operator's license, two different things. I understand what you're saying.
Right.
Okay.
That's why on all license in my business/occupation, me ain't got a business. I'm an operator. When I have the business is when I get the number to the vehicle. Then I say I have ownership of a business.
Do you pay business tax?
Operator's tax.
Operator's tax, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
When I get the number, then I could pay a business tax because I could sell my business. Right now I can't sell my business because me ain't got the number to the vehicle. Ownership to the number.
Terminology, okay. Got you.
You say pick up and go, I don't have ownership to the number, so I don't have a business. I'm an operator.
Okay, sir.
A taxi operator.
Got your point.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Got your point.
So she shouldn't say that I'm talking for myself because I said we should try to get ownership to the numbers. I didn't say me. I said we. We is not being selfish. I'm speaking for myself. I'm trying to speak for everybody to try to understand the situation that we are in. So when something happens, we can't say, but all these years are doing this thing, I did nice, I go.
Well, obviously there's more education needed on the topic.
Into certain problems when they buy vehicles and then months after they call them back and tell them, you got to go get your own number.
That is true.
I know it may want to call on you, but I know it happened to a lot of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got your point. Thanks for calling back. Shortly before the news, we had a call from a person we called New York Joe, Mr. Joseph Mason, from the Federation, an entrepreneur in the New York metropolitan area. And I given a call out for nationals living overseas to call if they can and give us we have a call on the line. Call your 11 voices. We have lost a caller. Okay, you're free to call back, please. And so Joe called and spoke about the fact that he actually was affected by COVID-19, and he was speaking about how the things are going through his business, etc. And we have a call on the line. Caller, your 11 voices.
Socrates.
Yes, sir. Welcome back.
Yes. So let me say good afternoon to all the callers. One more time, USA Connecticut representing Canary. Socrates.
Yes, sir.
I took confusion there, as we say before, me now go back up the young lady with the selfishness. But at the same time, the number, because we got the same thing up here, the number assigned to you, you know. The number plate. You can't sell the number plate, the number that a government something. You can't government asset.
That is true. It's registered, assigned to you, but it's over the government. Yes.
Listen, when you sell the vehicle, just like you go to a car dealer and buy a vehicle, you know me buy a taxi. You buy a vehicle, so if somebody can go buy the vehicle for you, then can go buy one vehicle for you, then can go buy the whole business for you. Listen now, these are the difference. The number assigned to you. Now, if there's somebody that don't want your number, that means you have to go tell the association there or the government, you're not in business no more. Now, if the taxi association full out and you want to sell the car, that you still got the number, they still, even you sell the vehicle, the number they still assigned to you, you know.
I think you have up to 2 years. That's correct. I think they give you up to 2 years for that number to be inactive before they can assign it to someone else.
It's still you that they register on your name. So in order for somebody to get the number they know, you now have to release your name from that number they know and pass them on to that they know. If the association full, right? If the association full and they say, then can take no more taxi, no more taxi man. They cannot take no more taxi man. Remember, you still got your number, so you can't sell your business. If you get out of the business now, and then the other man now, well, then that's one difference. But the number plate that you can't sell, the number that's a government asset.
I think you and the last call is on the same page.
Yeah. Okay then.
But thanks for your contribution. How are things in Montserrat?
Cool and quiet. Are we still on shutdown?
As it relates to, okay. All right. So you're safe, your family is safe and all that?
Yeah. And I will get away first bit, but...
You had your first casualty?
92, somebody 92 years old.
92 years old. Related to COVID-19?
Yeah, one lady. Boy,
I'm sorry to hear about that.
Right? Right now, the only thing can save somebody from the COVID-19 when they pass if an accident or something. In front of that, they only dead right now like a COVID-19 boy.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that because I'm hearing that in Antigua, they've been two young persons are passed on and they're not sure if it's related to COVID-19 or not. I think in Anguilla is said to be COVID-free, whatever that means. I expect someone to call and explain to me what that means and all that. So I'm sorry to hear that in Montserrat that they had a fatality related to COVID-19.
And St. Lucia too.
What's the status in St. Lucia? Do you know?
They're COVID-free.
They are COVID-free?
All the COVID cases down there.
Have they recovered?
Can clear. Yeah.
That is good news for the region.
Everybody healed down there.
That is good.
We need to find a solution. I have to find what they... No, serious consequences. This is not laughing matter. If everybody's COVID-free, I will forget the remedy. What do you say?
Yeah, but if it's all about compliance and they've followed all the thing, we have to study that and see what they did right.
So we have to find out what they use for get rid of that we can use on other people too.
Because at one point they had more confirmed cases before St. even had one.
This is what I'm saying, you know.
Okay.
And give somebody a chance.
Fair enough. Appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Yes, Mr. Mason, as I was saying, was able to call and speak to the situation he was undergoing in the New York area. If there are any other nationals out there who can call in and speak to what's happening to them, how they've been affected by COVID-19, we would love to hear from you. I want to say good afternoon to Mr. David Frakes in the meantime. And there's a call on the line. Caller 11 Voices.
Good afternoon, the King.
Mr. Carl Brown.
Yes, sir.
Always have some wise words to share with us. What do you have today?
Well, what I have today is a number of complaints from persons who are not working, because of this COVID-19.
Yes.
Now, what need to be done is this. Employers are not signing off and not sending in the amount of names that they need to send in to Labor Department and Social Security. They are totally refusing to sign for the employees.
Really?
Yep, Mr. Socrates. Not only that, King, what has been happening, which over the years, you have heard me, and many people, they could go back into the archives and hear time and time again, we are totally calling Social Security to have field officers out there visiting the site, visiting workers, visiting employers. Because what is happening now, the King, lots of employers, both foreign investors and local investors, have been taking out people's money
and
for years.
not making the contribution on behalf.
Not making the contribution on behalf of the workers. So what we have now, the King, is that people are filling out forms online, people are going down there, go to Social Security, Labor Department, only to hear that Socrates get a call and get hit the $4,000, only to go down to here and to be shown by the workers there at Social Security that Carl Brown's name is not in the...
His contributions were not paid. They want to forward it.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the King, what needs to happen here, the fault is three persons. One. First, the employer. The employer should have been checking regularly. The employer duty is to pay that money monthly.
Yes.
Because they take it out of our money.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest fault now is Social Security with field investors who should be, because they have the names of the employers, and the employees, because you use that ID many places you go. So it means that you are a customer of Social Security because you have the ID walking with it. So why is it that Social Security, who knows this and knows that these employees have not been paying for months and years, have not been doing what is duly supposed to do to these employers?
So you're saying the inspection has been lacking?
The inspection is being lacking.
And you're saying that the onus is on the employee to ensure that his benefits are being paid. It benefits him to check. So that's one point. Second point, you said the inspection from the Social Security Board has been lacking because they reports all the time. So now that the rubber hit the road, as to kind of phrase, you're finding out now that
last year and early this year, you hear him say that millions is out there owing to Social Security. And you hear him say in one broadcast that they're going to be very diligent this year to make sure the contribution is being collected and paid on behalf of the employees.
So now
hear what is happening now, King. People now do what they're supposed to do, only to be told by Social Security that nothing has been paid in for you. But here you know, King, my suggestion that I have been saying for many times, many years, Social Security duty bound is to pay these people because you bring your pay slips to show that
you
this
were
has
working.
been taken out for you.
Okay.
And then you deal with the employer.
Yes, okay. Got your point. Is that the position?
Yes, it is.
Is that your position?
That is my thing.
All right, Carl Brown, you always have a very good input, and I've always looked forward to it. So over the years, thank you very much for good to hear your voice again, okay?
Yes, man.
All right, have a nice one. Okay, what do we have here now? We just heard from Carl Brown on an issue where it says that it's been discovered that some employees have gone to collect at the Social Security office only to find out that the employers have not been paying the contribution. As far as I know, it's been taken off. This has been ongoing for some time, and I know that there are times when the Social Security Board have taken persons and companies to court to enforce that they observe. Call 11 Voices.
A pleasant good afternoon to you, Socrates.
Good afternoon, sir. How may I help you?
And good afternoon to all your listeners. Barry here, President of Think.
You got the microphone, Barry.
I must commend the Social Security on a job well done so far. You know that we collaborated and tried to get the relief forms to all the members and the taxi operators.
That is correct.
The result is that I've been getting calls, I don't know from your end, but members are pretty much satisfied and they said, yes, we've gotten our money, so I must say kudos to them on that end. Persons are saying, only $1,000, but little is much when God is in it. It's better than nothing at all.
Yes.
So I must say thank you to Social Security and the government for such gesture, because when you look at governments around the region, we are far, far ahead of them.
That is correct.
In relation to when you started the program, because I've been listening all morning, but I'm doing daddy's duties today. Yeah, I heard you mention of the meetings with the Minister of Tourism and also the meeting with the Minister of Transport. What we proposed to them, they would have taken it back to their colleagues in the cabinet, and we are still waiting on that dialogue to move forward.
That is correct.
But we are working in the best interest of the country, the tourism industry, and all our members involved. Sometimes you may not get the information as soon as you so desire to have it. But in the process, in the interim, because sometimes we cannot give you an answer that we don't have. So we are just waiting until such has been done.
That is correct.
So far, some of the suggestions that we put to them, we realize that they have acted upon some of them, and we are waiting to see what's the next move. But I just want to tell all our members, our co-workers, just be safe, be patient. Just look on the other side. I mean, there was a Calypsonian who sang a song a few years ago. I don't know if you know him. He sang a song, "Tighten Your Belt One More Hole."
Oh, boy.
The reality is that we had to tighten our belts.
Yes. One more hole.
One more hole, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we are moving forward. So, like I said, I must thank the Social Security Board and the government of St. Kitts and Nevis for a job well done.
Okay.
I've been dialoguing, like you said this morning, you went to the circus because you got to go home first before you go to another home.
Well, here's a point for you. Here's what you need to do. I'm going to charge you to create 2 chats. Right? Well, you and Mr. Brandy. We have the St. Kitts Taxi Cooperative. We have a chat so I can reach my membership like that. Create a chat for your membership. Get one for get Mr. Brandy to create one for his membership. I need you to create a chat for the 3 presidents. You yourself, Mr. Brandy, and myself, so we can dialogue because we have lots of stuff to sort out. But in the meantime, rather than having your members hearing something on the radio saying they're not hearing this and that, create a chat. You can reach them individually and it'll take away all this nonsense about, well, we're not hearing from this, we're not hearing from that. Okay? Will that work?
Okay, yes. Actually, what I'm trying to do is that the association has 2 numbers directly, and we can be reached at 663-8290. What I'll have to do is to talk to one of the service providers because it's not too feasible for me right now to activate 2 monthly plans on 2 phones.
On the one that's most active, create a chat. You reach a membership like that. That's what we got to do. Right?
Okay, I'll try my best to do that, and we'll move forward from there.
Thanks for your contribution, Barry.
All right, thanks so much.
Okay, where are we now? The numbers to call are 46609 89662 0989 Those are your local numbers. For the overseas U.S. numbers, we have 718-285-6984. From the Miami area, 305-921-6419. And we have a call on the line. Caller, good day. You're live on Voices.
Hello, good day.
Good day, sir.
We all should give God thanks for the good things He has done and is doing for St. Kitts and Nevis.
First of all,
we do not have some of the pressures and some of the seriousness of some of the countries. Yes, the entire thing is serious. And I think this is where we should now look to God. I know there are a lot of persons in our society who want to convince other persons otherwise. But the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, we should look to Him. The majority of us who are born here, now we grow up believing in God. And for whatever reason, we have strayed. And the scriptures speak about persons who stray from God. But I think we have a lot of people who still believe and want our nation to stick to God. There are many examples in the Bible when persons move away from the belief of God, things happen. We could look at a perfect example today to see what happened. However, let me stay here just to say, let us give God thanks and praise for the great things He has done to our nation.
Amen.
Now, I heard you mention something about the rest of the taxi service, but let me ask you a question. If you go to start a business and somebody is directing you to tell you what to do, is it your business or the person's business?
If they're giving you the regulations, if they have certain policies in place that you have to adhere to, it doesn't mean that it's your business, but they can't tell you what to do. There are certain policies that you have to follow. It may not be legislated, but there's some policies in certain organizations that you have to adhere to.
Well, let me ask a question. Those same regulation and rules in that legislation, is that the same thing with other businesses?
Could be. I would suggest.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You sure?
I would think so, because if you're self-employed in whatever category, there has to be certain policies and regulations that you have to follow.
No, you see, I know there are certain regulations and policies, but the point I'm getting at, if I go for a business license, you can't tell me what policy to come to govern my employees. As long as it talk about fair pay for fair work, as long as it talk about safety for my employees, but you cannot tell me I must let them wear this uniform or whatever. And you can't tell me you could take back my license. And I wanted to check where I'm coming from.
Well, that depends on what you sign up to when you sign the document.
What I'm saying, you sign up for it, but is it correct? So I'm going to leave it there because it is not my business.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, it's just for persons to look at it. If it is your business, you should have full control of your business. The laws come into play to make sure you do not do things to endanger life and to make sure you do not deprive persons of certain things. But to controlling you to tell you certain things, I mean, you're working for that person, not for yourself. So I'm going to stop there.
Okay. I get your point, but if you're working in any organization and you own a business, there has to be a framework that you still have to work within. It's not that you're giving up. Hello?
No, I understand what I'm saying. I'm saying, no, you're saying if you're working in any organization, but it's your business is your organization. You're only going to be licensed in authority to get permission to do business legally. But if somebody is now telling you this is what you must do, as opposed to saying I'm giving you, now if the license says certain things, that's what it is. But what I'm just pointing out to you, look at it as an ordinary business. Ask the other business persons downtown if they think telling them must do this and must do that, but the people is doing things legally to make sure there's transparency, no harm and no danger to persons and property, and so forth. And if that person is ready to sell his or her business, based on what the contract is you're selling the person get everything. So if the person want to take the debt that comes with the business, the person is trying to take on the debt and with the assets and so forth and the condition. But to say that I'm going to sell you the business, but you cannot sell, let's say, the plant, the employees care about the person who you're selling to, is a completely different thing. They're controlling what you're doing. That's the point I just want to get over. It's a completely different thing to what you're saying. But I understand what you're saying. Whatever the regulation says, you have to follow. But sometimes there's certain regulation and even some laws that are unconstitutional. I'm just trying to...
I can be challenged.
The person who's inside there.
I can be challenged.
Differently.
All right, so.
You know? But it is not for me to do. All I'm saying, my thing was to just say, let us give God thanks for...
First and foremost.
Our country and for being blessed. To not facing the same challenges as some other countries. And for those of you who are in that business, to look at it carefully and see if you're working for yourself or you're working for somebody else.
Thank
have
you.
A blessed one.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. If there are no other callers on the line, we pause for a station break.
How does it feel when you got that feeling? You got the flavor you love. How does it feel when you know you're not dreaming? There is nothing above.
How you feel when things come together? How you feel when everything nice? How you feel when you savor the flavor, the feeling you get when you taste every bite?
Why not stay in? Turn off the alarm clock and sleep some more on your perfect mattress from Quartz. For the widest range of mattresses from the world's best brands, the best value guaranteed. Shop today and let our sleep experts help you to decide on the best option to suit your needs. At Quartz, we don't just sell mattresses, we're offering you the best night's sleep. So, sleep in a little on your new mattress from Quartz. Quartz, bringing value home.
Flo's new combo plan, the people's plan. Combo. That's a new combo plan. You can call anyone, no matter which network you dey on. Just use your Flo.
I want a combo, but not for my belly. I feel me cell phone, so me call anybody. Call Mr. Man, call Granny. On the island, Flo, come boom.
Yes, there is no need for to force no more. Cause with Flo combo plan, you're paying less for more. Flo got a new combo plan. You can call anyone, no matter which network you dey on. Just use your Flo.
Dial star 129 number sign to activate your combo plan today.
King Ocean, King of the Caribbean Seas, announces king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St. Kitts. We have the best service and competitive rates on LCL and FCL cargo, including D&E containers, cars, heavy equipment, buses, boats, and barrels from Miami to St. Kitts. LCL pickup service anywhere in the U.S. Call local agents SL Horseman and Company Limited at 869-465-4086 or 869-662-5008 for further details. King Ocean's king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St. Kitts Nevis. King Ocean, King of the Caribbean Seas.
Good day and welcome back to this, I would say, the last segment of Voices. We're just about 6 minutes past the 1 o'clock hour. And we're discussing most things from COVID-19 to taxi association affairs. A few weeks ago, over the past few weeks, I would say, we noted a number of persons criticizing how the government were responding to COVID-19. And the caller, you're live on Voices.
Yeah. Do you interpret what the last caller was trying to say to you?
Totally, yes. Totally.
Okay. Same thing I'm trying to say. And he put it in a diplomatic way, but I hope a lot of people understand what he's trying to say. we being controlled by the authorities.
Yeah, but Quincy, you own your business, okay? I am the tourism authority. You own your business. And I'm saying...
I own the vehicle.
Okay, let's...
I know the number.
No, because the caller was saying that if you own your business, they shouldn't tell you what to do. But
Right,
here's
that's
the
what I
point.
was trying to say.
Let me play
I don't own the business, I own the vehicle.
Let me play devil's advocate, okay?
The number ain't mine.
Yeah,
The number complete the business.
All right. So you have 2-3 drivers on the porch. And I said to you, your drivers should be in uniforms. You choose the color, whatever, but you should not operate down there unless you're in uniform. It makes it look better for business.
Yeah.
Right? Do you have a problem with saying, well, you're telling me what to do? You understand? Sometimes you have to work within the framework of what there is.
In certain perimeters,
Yes.
there should be rules and regulation.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay? But they're not dictating to you. You should know when you have an issue with a ticket, challenge it, etc., etc.
No,
But
I understand
to
about the
collectively say that they're
he came from a
controlling...
different angle, but in my angle is I want the number plate to complete my business. So when I'm ready to dispose, I could sell and redeem something out of what I put in over the years.
Rather than keep complaining, it's left to us to get together, put
That's
that
what I'm
mechanism
saying.
in place.
Draft the document and get the signatures.
Okay.
That's all I'm simply saying. Draft
If
the
not,
document.
Year after next, we have the same
you see
complaint, the
what's
same
happening
argument.
now, right? Is that we ain't doing anything now, so we have time. By the time things start speeding up again, a fella gonna say, bye, me ain't gonna turn to sign that, then he was after a job.
2 years ago, I had that document drafted, okay? And I had reason to just back off because sometimes it's like you're pulling everybody with you. Once you have that sense of cooperation and people understand the need and understand the business and the industry, but to be out there just same thing day after day after day with no cohesive idea as to the way forward, and you have to be like pulling teeth.
But you know what's going on right now?
So
is
right now we have
people?
We have the downtime. Yes.
Is that how you hope now?
Right.
Because
so we have to
when
take this period and learn from what's going on.
And what category? But when you go to Social Security, they say we don't know you. Go for me phone. We don't know you. That's when people realize the problems that incur because you could use the vehicle to do other things, but because of the rules and regulation that govern us, we can't do it.
Like what? Go on the bus route?
Yeah. It's a public service vehicle.
Yeah, but we also tell the bus drivers they can't come in the port.
That's what we say, but it does happen.
But they infringe.
We can't control it.
So we see it then as infringement, but then when we go there, you're saying it's a public service vehicle. Can it be
It's a
both
public
ways?
service vehicle. You see, the problem is you have to know the rules and laws, that regulations that governs you. If you read your insurance and read the busman insurance, it's the same policy that is a public service vehicle that you for hire or reward. But it says you can't go race with it, peacemaking, and them. They say you can't do that. But your vehicle is for hire or reward.
And because of the different level of service, the authorities, whether licensing authorities or whatever, gave regulations. You should not be on this route. It's not a bus route. You should not be in Port Zante because the regulation, policies to help us move forward.
But if you get a hire, a charter, it automatically permits you. Because when you get a hire or charter, that's a negotiation between you and who hire you or charter you, and it permits you to move.
That is correct.
But they saying if you get a hire or charter, you must come to them to get permission to move off your route. I'm driving down the road. The fellow said, listen, I want you to carry me to Brimstone Hill. I got 10 people. I must go drive up and down to look for the commissioner of police, which taking me time. I can't find him. I lose the business.
Yes, I
because
understand that.
I cannot tell them, well, listen, I want to open permit. So anytime I see something I could do, they're not going to give me an open permit. Just in case something happened, they're not going to do that. When I have the work, then I got to seek, if I'm not going to get the job tomorrow, I seek permission for tomorrow. But if I go along the road and it's spontaneously put up here, boy, I want to go to this place. I can't carry him.
You can get penalized for that. So here's what. You get your notes together, all the points of to be queried, and let's do it. Let's have a dialogue and
It's
see
like
we can
I'm
solve
telling
it.
you, I tell you, we ain't that young, you know. Because what I'm saying is that what is happening, a lot of the people now who getting into the business, they don't understand what they're getting into. A lot of them don't understand what they're getting into. Years ago, you could have gone buy a vehicle. You go to the traffic department, tell them you want the color plate change. Nobody asks you nothing. You're going on the road, you're driving happily. Nowadays, you got to go to this session, and even when they say you pass, it's still taking you months, years before they could give you a number to say you could go walk. It's totally different now. It's totally different now. That's why I tell everybody, listen, I'm glad I've been a long time, because the kind of problems I see people getting themselves into, well, I wouldn't say problems, as the kind of hindrance to get themselves into certain things. They're being barred, and this, you got to go to this channel, you go to the... I'm so glad that I didn't have to go to them channel. I just, boof, and I gone. It was an open gate, but now the gates are closed, and it's for the closing. There are going to be more restrictions when we get back, and we foot, there are going to be a lot more restrictions.
We live in a changing world.
That's what I'm saying. There's going to be a lot more restrictions.
Right now,
because when you really look at this 6 feet apart, with all this cardboard we're coming and different things, so they don't got zone already. It's going to be further zoning. And people ain't really looking at it. They
We
feel,
will have
things
to
ain't gonna
adopt.
go
We
back to
will
normal.
have to adopt as we move forward, because we have to move
That's what
forward.
I'm saying. So what I'm saying, now let me try to see what we could do before it get more difficult for us.
All right.
Yeah, that's how I'm simply
when I
saying.
get off, I'll talk to you. See if we get a meetings table for like Wednesday or Thursday. No, sorry, Thursday,
get the
Friday.
guys together, get the thing draft up, and you go around. You know where to find us with signature. So when you're walking in, you got a big pile of paper, like you're going to the court. You're a defense lawyer.
Yes, sir.
You know what to do.
Point taken.
All right.
Okay, have yourself a nice one. You're listening to Voices 98.9, and we're on the. Got about 15 more minutes before we wrap up today's segment of. And we have a caller live on Voices. Caller, you're live on Voices.
Oh, good afternoon.
Lovely,
Socrates.
Miss Henry. How about that? Good afternoon.
Oh, fine. I am here smiling.
Yeah, called last week and everybody told me, oh, we long to hear from Miss Henry. It was so nice to hear her voice, so the mic is yours.
Well, if you did not know, you know now. And that the last call is very skillful, you know.
I know him.
I like the question you asked me about the bus. You know what? Since morning, I've been saying to myself, taxes are taxes. Because when he said if you pick up 10, will it take 250?
There you go.
Because
Well,
once
Miss
you
Henry,
put them
I
in
know
your
you
taxi,
call
you
in
can't
and
be
put it in
asking
the
for
right
like
perspective.
20. You cannot be asking for taxi fare on a bus route.
There you go.
So if you want to play bus, he has to make up his mind. Or be listening. Because
Quincy.
I think trying to convince you.
Mm-hmm.
So when you pick up 10 to go village, I hope you know it's not
It's $250.
$200. He
Yeah.
will get his $25.
It's $250 EC.
$250 EC.
Not US.
From here down to Challengers or someplace.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, I was saying to myself, since morning I was trying to call, the taxi men, I don't ever occur to them. You know, you have a lot of people lining up to shop, and sometimes by the time they get in, they're fatigued when they come out. If the taxi men ever consider lowering their taxi rate, say in the
Yes.
city or around Bastille, so instead of 20, say, look, we will take 15, but you have to be unanimous, and the price cutting.
Understood.
So, you have business cards. You could go down when they line up and even announce, say you 6 feet and say, would anybody need my services to take you and your something home? Even some of the deliveries. Taxi men could organize to the deliveries.
So you
now, he was arguing between business, he owned the business.
Yeah.
Now, maybe he's confusing company with the business. A company is a registered thing with articles, you know.
Yes.
It's different to just get a business license. The person who's selling by this side they will have a business license like you do. But they don't have a company. So he owns the business. It is his business. If he owns the vehicles and he has a business license, he owns a business.
With terms and conditions.
What he does not own is the numbers on the bus. Because it is the police or the traffic department that distribute them or redistribute them.
Okay.
Now, what they could do if you want to have it permanent, because I have known cases. I mean, I remember when in statistics we had a vehicle, and we were a little late in insuring and licensing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a government vehicle. When we went, somebody was given the number. If the number was ours, we could have demanded it back.
Okay.
But the traffic department do sometimes if your vehicle have the road for a while. They give somebody the
That
number.
is correct. Because
If there is a way, if something will be organized, look, I want to have this vehicle. And sometimes it is our fault too. We don't notify them that the vehicle is in the shop or
down
something.
for a while, yes. I think it's 2 years now. They give you at least 2 years. If it's not active, they can then reassign it to someone else.
Right. So if you know that, you think, because he's suggesting when he sell the vehicle, he want to get back the number. Sometimes they ask you, they offer your number. But tell him he owns the business. And I hope some of the taxi drivers are thinking seriously of coming out of the business.
Coming out of?
Coming out of.
I'm listening.
From all the complaints I've been hearing is that some people can't get work because too many of them in the air.
Mm-hmm.
It is not economics, If you already know that the amount of persons in there, people can only get a job every 2 weeks, then you shouldn't be in there.
Ms. Henry, what actually happens, right? During the high seasons, when you find all the big ships downtown, and you can see them, it looks very, very lucrative.
But that's what
and
I'm saying.
People are then encouraged to go and get a mortgage, to get a loan, to get a vehicle.
But, Lelo, the decision is yours, Anybody could encourage anybody to go and do anything. You have to sit down and work it out. You must that's what they talk about, business plan. And the person who helping you to do the business plan must explain to you, even when your cash flow, will you be able to raise enough to pay the mortgage? Because the insurance on these vehicles are extensive.
95% of us do not take that approach.
And then another thing again. Some people, I just say, could be greedy. You already see people struggling. You have 2 vehicles, then you get 4 or 5 more.
Yes.
But how do you expect to get all of them to work?
And you want them filled every day.
That's what I mean. Now, if you want them filled, you're actually taking the place of somebody else. So don't go, in my vehicle, and you have a different driver.
And that's part of the problem down there.
I hope some of those who are not successful will come out. Because in economics, you're supposed to come out. If you see you're not making it, what you think maybe you need to go run in the bus route, as the gentleman say.
It's kind of hard.
And to the young men.
It's kind of hard to just flip because you would have made an investment. You're looking for the ships to...
Yeah, but if you make an investment that is costing you, we talk about cost benefit, right?
Correct.
The cost is more than the benefit. You got to do something else, otherwise you end up losing the vehicle after you would have made a number of payments on it. You see what you're talking about?
I need you as my economic advisor.
And then another thing again. When I recall, when they were complaining, these taxi men ain't want nobody come in and whatever, and they make the noise to the politicians. And the door was opened. And they were happy. Well, if that is the policy you want, you don't expect at some point it will be overcrowded. It's just like some shops. When you go down to Development Bank and say you want a loan to go and open a store to sell clothes, you are begging to lose your money. You cannot compete against those who bring in trailer load of clothes, containers, if you can sell the same thing.
The standard was, Ms.
Whatever
Henry,
you're selling got to be different.
If I may make a point, the standards was, in the past, before a person was recognized or given a license to operate as a taxi driver, the presidents of both associations, which was Limigo Taxi Association and Cinque Taxi, would be consulted by the tourism department with an inquiry, can the industry take more workers or more drivers? If the answer was yes, they would then vet these persons in a sort of probationary period before they were given the license to operate. So you had a better control of the industry. You know how much more person it could take or not. Somewhere along the line,
more than
the
just
politics.
taxi thing, you know. You have all those economists up there.
Yeah, well, somewhere
You
along the
have
line,
people, you know,
the politics
you need more
came
than
into
just
it.
because there could be bias to it.
The
Because
politics
they
came
could be
into it.
protecting themselves.
The politics came into it, and we found people like, well, how we get a license? How we get a license? Ex-politicians send them, and that was part of the problem.
Look,
But it
politics
used to
cover
be.
anything, you know.
There you go.
It pollutes, you know. And now some of those who beg and they want to go in and everybody, and I don't know why we don't count the cost. Why we don't count the cost? And the alternatives, you know, hearing about, they want to increase production. Some of them know they want to get their hand on the land.
Who want to
That's
increase
why
production?
I was glad when Mr. James said, you must come with a plan.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Because government has done it. You know how many acres of land they share out there? And production has not increased. And the truth is, you know, people only go there when there are very little alternatives. Not only in St. Kitts, young people don't want the thing mess up.
You made it a famine?
You bring in all the hydroponics and all kind of panics.
Yeah.
And you ask, they do it at CLBC. You ask, well, where are they? Where are the graduates? Where are they? Because you want modern agriculture, you don't want subsistence. Nobody will when you plant two potato and two things.
Yeah, the stigma of that.
You want commercial activity. You know, so everybody want rushing. It's like you open, if you start to sell patty today, you see like the food vendors.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the food vendors, they see somebody selling. Oh, well, maybe I could sell too.
It's popular for one day.
And then they turn around, buy things hard,
Because everybody's selling the same thing.
Understand that there's a certain demand. If it's 20 people buying before you come, it's 20 buying after you come. You either got to take away all the maybe customers or try and find new ones. We rush into things we don't calculate. That's why we fail. We fail in business because we don't work out anything. So a lot of them about him. Oh, and people don't. I hear them on the radio, you know. I can't get a work, and if you can't get a work, come out of that.
Here's what.
Get something on the side.
Mr. Brandy.
You do run taxi on your days off then, or something. Go work construction.
The other two presidents and I have decided to go back to the drawing board and see if we can craft a policy in the way going forward. So, like next year, this time, we won't have all those complaints.
You will have them, believe me. We like to complain. And you see, look, election coming up.
Mm-hmm.
You see election coming up. Politicians, to me, I don't understand them. God bless them. They just create the most problem. They will already see the situation where it is oversaturated. And some of them run to them. And next thing you hear them, when we get in, we're going to give 40 more. I mean, really? You know what I mean? They promise.
We have a chance to address it now. We have a chance to address it now. We intend to.
Believe me.
It can't be business as usual.
You see how they're asking you. They're not saying, let us get the thing, you know. You must go get your papers together. And you must go. So when you go, they're outside there. And then you hear them on the next, or somewhere saying, boy, I never mean that, you know, it's Socrates want it.
I see. That's true.
When you're going anywhere, do not go by yourself.
They have to sign on the dotted line.
If you go in the room, they must be outside standing up. So you could tell the person, look to your window, you see who is backing me up.
We're going to have signatures.
A signature is not good enough, you know. We want body present. Don't let anybody push you into nothing.
I appreciate that.
All right, then. Good afternoon to everybody.
And
happy birthday to the traffic police, Prouse.
Alison Rouse?
Yes, today's her birthday.
Happy birthday to you. I saw on a stage in London, no, that was Leeds, about 4 years ago. Yeah, want a part of
Always,
house?
so make sure you bigger up. All of those, and she doing a good job.
Yes,
they give
yes,
her
she
trouble
does. She
because
does.
she's a woman.
She does.
I am saying
I
it as a
don't.
female.
I
They
know
like
what-
to give woman trouble, but she don't want to give John that kind of trouble. They dare not. But because it's a woman police, they give him trouble. You're
gonna-
done with it.
we're gonna
She's
keep it
doing
to-
a very good job.
Happy birthday
I
to
commend
us.
her. All the best.
I concur. Happy birthday to your house. Yeah, a few years ago in Leeds, you want no part of house on the stage. We have a call on the line. Caller, you're live on Voices.
Yes. Good afternoon, Socrates.
Good day, sir. How are you?
All right. Now, I've been hearing this transportation thing, this vehicle business, that sort of stuff. Now, my point is, like I've always been saying, let's do things the Bible way, okay? This also is, the Bible addresses these matters as well.
Which matters?
Every matter in life, every matter. Now, I'm going to address this from a biblical point of view, where this taxi stuff and so is concerned. The Bible way to go about this is to simply get the government out of this business, let it operate on a purely private basis only. Nobody should be told if you have a vehicle what you can use it for, what you can use it for. If you have a vehicle, you should be able to use it for whatever.
We got about
legitimate
2
purpose.
minutes before we wrap up today, okay? The tourism authority is arm of the government. You cannot say get the government out of this. They have to be part of it.
No. It's against the Bible for them to be in part because these are not the duties of government. And this is what causes policy. Our problem is not the Bible. Our problem is man laws. Man laws is part. And so when we start to overstep our biblical bound, that is where problems start to create. And this is one of the areas where you have so many problems, again, even in the tourism area, because this is not the biblical boundaries of government to get into.
I understand your one-size-fits-all approach for everything, right? But it doesn't
That's the Bible
have
side.
to be this way, right? Heaven help those who help themselves, right? That might be the best of knowledge. What I'm saying.
Also help those who can help themselves too.
Yes, but we will
But
sort
in
this.
everything, we need to obey the Bible.
We
In everything.
in all things.
You see, and I'm going to tell you what, the more competition you have, okay, which in doing things about what creates more competition. The more competition you have, the better the service increases continually. And so this would rebound positively, increasingly so in all areas of transportation, including public transportation, tourism transportation, that sort of stuff, as it increased business, as it increased competition. And this is what is found, for example, happening in America and that sort of stuff. As more competition comes on the scene, and a lot of it is quote unquote illegal, but what you find that the business, the transportation business is getting better and better because of more and more competition. There we have. So this thing has put in a limit on people as to how much people could do this, and this thing has put in limit on people as to how much you could charge and how much you can charge. Sometimes a bottom limit is put, sometimes an upper limit is put, sometimes both are put at the same time.
And sometimes we'll have to take a next episode to expound on this topic. We are at the end of today's segment of Voices. And I want to thank you for calling in once more again, Gregory. Today we heard from a number of callers. One of the most, I want to say, important one was the one from the guy we call New York Joe. He lives in the New York area, and he was speaking about the fact that he was affected by COVID-19, and I think there'll be a news item that follows up on that topic. So we want to thank all the callers who called into the made a contribution. We're going to thank Montserrat. We want to thank those who tried to get in, did not get in. We want to thank Ms. Henry, and we look forward to having you call back again tomorrow. I should be back on Monday next for another episode of Hosting Voices. In the meantime, I want to wish you peace, love, and safety. Be kind, be gracious, be understanding, be compliant with the regulations being offered by the government, well, the health department, and we will get past this. This too shall pass. Have yourself a wonderful one.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters.